In the late of 19th century, Havana became a prosperous and fashionable city. Havana's theaters featured the most distinguished actors of the age, and prosperity amongst the burgeoning middle class led to expensive new classical mansions. During this period, Havana became known as the Antillean Paris. Waking up in Havana feels wondrous, even surreal. Time seems to have stopped. From the look of the cars, or what's left of them, it's the 1950s. And nobody is hurrying to work. Detroit is not be called totally abandoned, since about 600,000 people still live there. More than half of the population is struggling to survive. A lot of the districts of the city are not available for living and people left them. Minus 1950 was the year when the population of Detroit reached its maximum, almost 2 million people. It was a popular city, and a lot of people were striving to come here. The breaking point were a number of crises. It led to closure of most of the plants. In the early 1970s, Famagusta was the #1 tourist destination in Cyprus. Now is an abandoned town, whose inhabitants fled during the 1974 war in Cyprus. It appears to be frozen in time, the clothes still on the racks in the shops, homes, and apartments untouched for nearly 50 years. Some of the lights were even left on in the buildings for years after the evacuation. This Pennsylvania town was like any other, until in 1962 the coal mine below it caught fire. People started to leave, and now Centralia is like an apocalyptic film set. This island in the Bronx, and is home to no one, just herons. Up until 1964, the island housed Riverside Hospital and its patients. Most people have never heard of this town, but it's the ancestral home of Adolf Hitler's parents. In 1938, Hitler ordered the townspeople to be forcibly evacuated and the village blown to bits. Why he did so remains a mystery. When Chernobyl nuclear power plant's nuclear disaster occurred in 1986, it was the death of this northern Ukraine community. Not everyone died, but all 50,000 residents had to evacuate. Many suffered from acute radiation sickness as a result of exposure to high levels of radiation during the accident. As recently as 30 years ago, there were 28,000 people living here, but the Nagorno-Karabakh War in 1993 forced them to flee.